and fundamentally speaking, it is imperative to know that a problem is not a problem until you challenge your assumption. So oftentimes I tell people to say that if you're not solving a problem, don't even start the business at all, right? And from an innovative point of view, the first thing you should think about is this solution desirable? Are there people who are willing to who have those problems I'm trying to solve? Just like that was said around Paystack. At the point when Paystack came, the 2015, 2016, when Alert started with the digital bank, it was almost like it was the best thing after sliced bread. But at the point when Paystack came, it was a problem people had, right? People wanted to consummate transaction, collect payment and all of that. And the banking industry couldn't solve, that imminent problem at that point. When Paystack came, it was a problem people had. That's one, that's desirability. Number two is it the problem people are willing to pay for, right? It's a different thing when you're solving a problem. So I hear some entrepreneurs or co-founders say, "Oh, I'm building an app that reminds you about your birthday." Come on, I don't care about my birthday. Yeah, it's a problem. I know my wife will be angry if I don't remember her anniversary. But the truth is it a major problem? Worst case, you get angry. The next morning, I'll buy flour and buy whatever it is I need to buy. And appease the gods, right? But at that point, it is not a problem I'm willing to part my hard-earned money for. Right, so I then tell people the second thing. The second thing you should look at or talk about is around the viability conversation. Because what you would end up doing is spending a lot of money and giving my sister money as a consultant to keep, helping you refine and all of that. Meanwhile, this is the problem people are not willing to pay for. Then the final part is around visibility. This is where technology comes from. To say that can technology then power or catalyze the work you're doing? So to briefly answer the question you asked around, is it all business that are scalable? In my opinion, scalability means doing more without incurring more operational costs, right? So you want to make money without spending a lot of money. So a lot of businesses say, "Oh, I've made 10 million this year, but how much have you spent?" So you can make 10 million and spend 30 million. Right. So to be able to scale, I think there are a couple of fundamental principles. And safe to use my bank as an example. When I joined my bank 2 years ago, I left Standard Bank, South Africa, to join my bank, and it was almost like I was living, Canaan for Egypt. And everybody kept asking me, "Oh, are you stupid? Why are you living in a multinational, going to a traditional bank that will die in the next 3 months," and all of that. And I've seen the bank grow from just that, typical tier 2 bank into in 2022 doing 150% year on year, 2023 doing about 300% year on year, and this is 2024 we are edging close to doing about 400%. I mean, we're not as big as the GTP who declared 1 trillion half year, but the point I'm making is I've seen the bank, practically take decisive steps, right, around a couple of things. Number one is hiring the right talent. So when I joined the bank, the level I was given at the bank then, I'm not sure, the youngest person will probably maybe 8 or 9 years, older than I am. But because the bank needed to know that there was a need to redefine itself, give a new face to the work they're doing, right, we needed to then come up with a fresh innovation team from the scratch. I needed to hire 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds to be engineers, product managers, and all of that. So for you to be able to scale, just as you said, I mean, you need the right people, right? And Wema Bank did that at that point. Number two is to also relook your operations, right? Because of the way Africa is structured, there are a lot of things we spend money on. There are a lot of things we invest in that we shouldn't typically invest in. So the reason why Paystack, for example, will make as much money they will make compared to Wema Bank is because, traditionally speaking, there are a lot of wastages, there are a lot of leakages, right? That a traditional bank will spend money on. And I saw my bank begin to cut off some things, right? I know today banks still run parties and all of those stuff that take our money away, and we can't, I mean, I can't buy the kind of phone that I would buy, for example, because I don't make as much money as it does. But I saw my bank begin to cut down on some operational costs, right? And one of the things the bank did was, at the point when I joined, the bank was top heavy, and we had a lot of people who were complaining we were not paying them well and all of that. And I saw the bank begin to shed off a lot of GMs, right? So people were taking all of the big bucks in the room, right? And do you understand? And we brought in new sharps, new guys, and they created like a structure where young people are able to stay. We're able to, competitively pay them like startups will pay, or the high growth startup will pay them to them. You would find young guys at the age of 21 staying in the bank for 2 or 3 years because they don't typically get what a normal banker will get. They get what their folks in Follow Wave or Paystar will typically get. And I think on a final note, I would say that thinking about scalability, you need to think about it from a marathon point of view. There is no 80-20 rule to scale, especially when we're in a complicated regulatory environment like Africa. So you don't say if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to make 3, 4, 5, right? Some big organizations are just one decision away from going into extinction. So you need to think about it to say that what is my plan in the next 5, 7, 10 years? Don't think about the next 3 months because again, I mean, it is still paid today, might be white cleft tomorrow.
Right. Right. The unpredictability in Africa is massive compared to other clients. Very interesting. One very common thing that I've heard from Ella, from Dapo, and from you is the impact that people play, right, when it comes to building businesses and scaling businesses. Either you are a business owner or a business executive working in an organization, right? You mentioned the impact that the operations, right? The importance of ensuring that you're constantly refining level different in Nigeria.
So I'll try not to react some of the things I've said, but I'll say number one is the leadership and connected to the people, right? You cannot take that out of the way. Leadership is really critical. There's a measure of optimistic delusion you should have as a leader, as a visionary in this part of the world, right? I tell some of my colleagues that Burma Bank just changed. We had a new managing director about 18 months ago, and I tell people, I say, if this guy calls us into a room and says, take this AK-47 and go and gun down your entire family, it inspires me so much that way, right? So at the point when he said, oh guys, we're going to make 100 billion PBT 2000 and whatever, it felt really strange because just 2 years before then, the entire PBT we made us through the year was 7 billion. So it was stupid and crazy, right? So I think leadership goes along with that one. Number two is being able to manage the regulatory environment. And I tell startup founders, I sit on a couple of startups as an advisor, and I tell them, don't try to solve two problems. Don't try to fight two people. Don't fight God and government, right? Yeah, if your startup or your business is you're trying to fight God. I mean, I don't know how you want to navigate that, and you're trying to fight government. So being able to navigate the complicated regulatory environment, seeing the body language of the regulators. So sometimes I go on LinkedIn, just like Ella said, and people say, "Oh, those people in the bank, these guys, they are not innovative, they are no sharp guys," and I just smile. I just smile and I'm like, come and work in the bank, right? I mean, I've spoken to tons of people in CBN, and you're almost going to throw a microphone at them to say that, is there something else in your head, right? So you say, oh, why are banks not doing cryptocurrency? And why are banks not innovating around? I hope you know that before we can even paint our branches, we need to get approval from CBN. It's as silly as that. Pardon me, right? I mean, if that wants to do anything today, probably get approval from his team, go on social media, put it out. For you to be able, so people will say, oh, your logo is so silly. I said, go and get approval. So you want to build a product that is solving a problem. You can sit with CBN for 6 months, saying the same thing over and over again. You get so okay, right? So when you then want to make comparison to say, oh, I travel to Singapore, and such a fan, go to Singapore, align with them, know how to understand, understand what they are doing. And I think a final thing I will do this event. My team is currently launching, my bank is currently launching having an edtech platform where their parents can monitor their finance and all of that. Right? We realized that although we had to shoot and time Monday to Friday. So we told ourselves, how can we plug in into this ecosystem? So we have built that. So tomorrow pattern, say we're a traditional bank, so we must do facilities. So those will be my major thoughts and points around scaling.
Adaptability and being able to time for you to share with us,